Welcome to Unit Standard 24484 Training Information number 3. We are going to continue with our theorists and the domains that they covered in their theories about child development. So the first theorist that we're going to look at in this training information is Vygotsky. So Vygotsky covered social and cognitive development. So he also felt that there's a strong link between social development and cognitive development. Being around other people and the effect that your culture and other people have on you, he felt that had a big impact on how you develop cognitively as well. So the main thing I want you to take away from Vygotsky's theory, and there are some other things that you need to go and read about, but the most important thing is the zone of proximal development. So this is when we teach children new things, or they learn to do new skills. And children learn to do new skills all the time because they are developing all the time, so they constantly learn how to do new things. But the zone of proximal development is that zone or that part where something is not too easy for a child and it's also not too hard. So in the zone of proximal development is when it's the next skill a child would be able to do. So it's that something that is just out of reach, but it's the next thing that they would be able to do. And then you, as the practitioner, or maybe a friend that already can do the skill, or somebody else, or a parent, helps and guides the child to reach that new skill. So they help them a little bit, and then as the child learns the new skill, they help them a little bit less, until the child can do it by themselves. And that skill, or that perfect environment for learning, is what we call the zone of proximal development. So it's when a child learns something new that they cannot yet do on their own, and they can only do it if someone else helps them, and then you help them less and teach them to do it by themselves. There is a link on this form for a video explaining more about the zone of proximal development. The next theorist we are going to talk about is Bandura. Bandura's theory also includes social and cognitive development, and he also felt that there's a big link between social and cognitive development. So he felt that the environment that the child is in, and the culture and the people that are around the child has a big influence on the child's social skills and social rules, patterns, and behaviors that the child will follow. So he felt that the environment of the child and how the child behaves has a big influence on each other. A big and important thing that we take from Bandura's theories are modeling. So modeling is the learning of a skill or behavior by watching or imitating someone else. So it's when children are, in essence, copying the people in their life that they feel strongly about. So it's usually someone that has power, or that they have emotion attached to. So they usually want to be like someone, or they want to be like someone they love, or they admire someone and then they want to be like that person. Bandura also felt that learning through modeling, so when children are copying other people, so sometimes or most of the time they actually do it unintentionally. So when they copy people around them, even their friends or someone they love or look up to or admire, then they learn to act and behave the way that those people behave. And this is a quicker form of learning than trial and error, so trying things by yourself. It's almost like when you have to do bake a new recipe that you've never made before. It's easier when there's someone next to you that's also doing it, and you can just copy what they are doing instead of having to try everything by yourself and seeing what works. So in the same way, when children models people in their life, it's an easier and quicker way of learning than trial and error, and that's why it happens naturally. Modeling is also the way language is learned. So sounds and words is copied from other people in the child's life, and that's why you will never have a Xhosa parent and the child suddenly starts speaking Afrikaans. Okay, so the child will always speak the language that is used around him because he is modeling what he hears and what he sees. And that is the most important part about Bandura. The last theorist we're going to discuss in this video is Erikson. So Erikson is a really important theory, and it's a social emotional development theory. So it's all about how children develop socially and emotionally. And Erikson's theory has 8 different stages. So it goes from birth up until adulthood. So I'm just going to discuss the few stages with you that links to being a child and the children that you would work with. And then you can go and read on the other stages. That is from teenage to adulthood. Before we start discussing the stages of Erikson's theory, there's just a few points that I would like to highlight about his theory. So each stage of Erikson's theory has a social crisis. So you will see it's every time something against something else. So for example, the first stage is trust versus mistrust. So it's something positive against something negative. So in that stage, when the child is between physical development and social pressures and learning how to have social interactions with other people and emotional development, it's kind of a fight between these two alternatives, so trust versus mistrust, and you get stronger through every stage that you need to overcome this crisis. So when a crisis is resolved, so when you get past the trust versus mistrust, for example, stage, the person is strengthened to face the next challenge. So then you are stronger to go to the next stage. In the same breath, Erikson felt that once you go through the trust versus mistrust stage, that crisis, the mistrust crisis, doesn't go away. So it still stays with you through all the other stages, but you will just be stronger to overcome that part of the crisis. So as you move through the different stages, as you get older, it gets more complex and more difficult to overcome the crisis, but you are stronger because of previous crises that you have gone through. And obviously, if you struggle with the first stage, or you had problems in the first stage where you couldn't trust your caregiver, or we will discuss the different stages now, but then that might become a problem in the future because you haven't overcome that crisis, and that then might present social problems for you in the future. Like I mentioned, the first stage is trust versus mistrust, and this is for children from birth to 1 year. So this is all about when the baby learns to trust the caregiver and trust himself and gain a sense of comfort and safety. It's all about, I'm crying and I need something and I need to trust someone else to help me, and then you develop a sense of trust. Or if you don't, and you get, for example, a baby that's neglected, then they would have a sense of mistrust. The next stage is autonomy versus shame and doubt. And this stage is for children from 2 to 3 years. So in this stage, the word autonomy means to be able to make your own decisions. So this is where a child is starting to become a little bit more independent. They learn to dress themselves and eat, go to the toilet, like potty train. So all those type of things happen during this stage, and when that is successfully gained, it helps a child to feel a sense of autonomy. So a sense of, I can make my own decisions, and I can dress myself, and I can control my body, and when I want to go to the bathroom. If a child struggles with this and there's a crisis within that, then it leads to shame and doubt, because the child will feel shame that he is not able to control his body and that he can't begin to make decisions for themselves. The next stage is initiative versus guilt, and this is for children from 4 to 5 years. So initiative is when you take initiative to do something, you start it, and you are creative, you are going out of your way to make something happen. Children of this age really takes initiative in the things that they do. So they try out new things, and they try to learn new things and new tasks and new skills. They are exploring and testing out all of the different things, and it's so good for them to have this initiative and to have self-confidence to try new things. And this is where it's so important, because when they are discouraged for that initiative, or they feel like when they have taken initiative that it was wrong, then that results in guilt. So when a child takes initiative and tries something new and they get criticized for it, then that will also result in guilt. And that's why encouragement is so important for children of this age, because they need to build their self-esteem and be encouraged in everything when they try something new. This is not this saying that they should be encouraged to do wrong things, but they should be encouraged to try new skills and to develop to the best of their ability. The fourth stage of Erikson's theory is industry versus inferiority. So if we look at those two words, the word industry essentially means hard work. So it's about working hard, and then inferiority means that you feel less than someone else. So industry, in this age group, children want to work hard at their schoolwork. They want to do chores for the teacher. They are so excited if you ask them, can you please fetch me that, or can you do this for me? They will always want to do it. This is the stage where they want to be praised for the things that they do. They want to hear, oh, well done, thank you so much. If they don't get praise and if they don't feel that sense of accomplishment, I have done hard work and I have been rewarded for my hard work, then they will feel inferior. So they will feel less than someone else, and it will have an effect on their self-esteem. So the crisis in this stage of Erikson's theory is between working hard and getting that good feelings from accomplishing something, versus feeling inferior. The other stages of Erikson's theory, stages 5, 6, 7, and 8, is for children from 12 and up to adulthood, and those you can go and read about on page 31 and 32 in your module.